My newlywed wife cheated on me and I'm beyond hurt. Don't know what flair to put because I honestly never thought. I'd have to post here. I'm N22 and my wife is F21. We got married young because we both agreed. There was no reason to wait and we wanted to spend our lives together. We have only been married 2 months. For reference, we work at the same job. I close and she usually opens, but we have 2 days a week off together. Last night I noticed she seemed upset. She was guilty about something and I had to coax out of her what happened. A guy she had slept with regularly. Before we started dating was about to move away from our city. He invited her out to lunch one last time and she made it seem like he was one of her first friends. When she moved here, so I didn't think anything of it and told her to be safe. I went into close that Monday and she got off work and had a smoothie with him. Apparently, he offered her to come up to his apt one last time for the memories. They ended up making out and having S***X, she said he initiated it and the following encounters. She never mentioned this mistake. And then while I closed again Tuesday, she went back to his place and they did it again, everything. A second time. Again, she did not tell me this. Wednesday, Friday, we work opposite shifts, but have Thursdays off to hang out. She never once mentions the lunch she had and I had to ask her about it to find anything out. She lied and said they just had smoothies and talked for 2.5 hours. Saturday while I'm closing once again. She went back to his apt a third time and she cheated again. This day was terrible for me at work and I texted her telling her I needed a hug when I got home. And beknownst to me she was just sucking another man's penis not but for hours before. In the few hours we spoke about what she did, she said. She didn't believe it was a mistake. She felt guilt but not regret. And then said if he never moved away she would have done this even more. And had never planned on telling me about it. She said so much more and even listed reasons. Why she thinks the S***X with him is better than with me and even deleted chats she had with him. When I left the room for a moment, I caught her as she was closing Snapchat. She claims she loved him through our whole relationship. And even asked me about my thoughts for an open marriage, which is something we both discussed. And agreed we'd never do if we got married. On her phone was texts to her cousin about look. How cute this man is. I'm literally rethinking my marriage over him and searches for why do I want a divorce after 2 months. She had even looked into jobs and apps in the town this guy moved to. She had a whole exit planned out after 2 months. Why did she even marry me? Story number 2. First girlfriend cheated after long distance. Could it work out? I'd have been with my girlfriend to OF for just over 6 months. Now, we go to the same college and met at the beginning of the year and started dating soon after. She's been very open about her past relationships. Both serious and casual, and promised me that she was serious about me and wanted to be long-term. She also told me she never cheated on any of her exes. The 4 months we spent together at college were amazing. We almost never fought and basically lived together. We even started planning how we're going to move in together and discussed starting a family after the semester ended. We both went home to our families in different states and started long distance before leaving. She warned me that she has had needy and attention-seeking behavior when she did long distance in the past. I reassured her that we'd FaceTime every day and text each other all the time. The first weeks of long distance were completely fine. We talked all the time and were both happy, but she started voicing that she was struggling with loneliness and us not being together. One day, she calls me and tells me that she feels like we haven't been connecting as much recently. She realized this because at a social event, another guy flirted with her and the attention made her feel good. She also made plans to visit me and was upset that I wasn't making enough of an effort to visit her. I was respectful towards her and her feelings. We talked about our problems and worked through them and it seemed fine. She visited me soon after at my house and sat me down to tell me that the flirting was actually S**X naturally. I got really disgusted and didn't want her in my home, but she begged me to give her a chance. I'm very emotionally reliant on her, so I agreed that I'd continue our relationship. She told me that she met the guy the same day, with some of her friends from her hometown guy friends I didn't know about, and that he started flirting with her immediately. She told him no constantly and mentioned that she has a boyfriend, but she ended up giving him a ride back to her house to hook up. I ended up looking through her texts to see which friends she told, and I found my name mentioned in a text message conversation with one of her best friends who she told right after it happened. The conversation was a very hard read. She described the night and also mentioned that she doesn't love me as much as her ex. Also, in the conversation, she was concerned about getting exposed by the guy she hooked up with, and questioned if she would tell me about it or not. I also happened to scroll up in the conversation, enough to see her mentioning a different guy that she met over the summer who she thinks is hot and her type, and slid into his DMs to just hang out. I don't forgive her for her actions, and I don't trust her at all. But we're still together. She said she's willing to do whatever it takes to make us work out, and I am confident that she's serious about us. She started doing therapy and wants to change, but my concern is that I'm not sure I have the emotional maturity to ever trust her again. I warned her about these feelings and possibly breaking up before it becomes toxic, or we waste each other's time, and she suggested giving it time and potentially seeing a couples therapist. On one hand, I feel as if I'm wasting my time trying to go long-term with someone who cheated on me. On the other, I really do love her. I would like a future with her. What do I do? TLDR. Met my first GF in college. We hit it off and were great. We went long distance over summer and she cheated on me within a month. She promises she'll never do it again and wants me to give her a chance. Can it work out? Story number 3. Found out my wife's secret affair on Snapchat. To give short background to the blow-up, my wife was super defensive whenever I would bring up issues I had. So naturally, when I didn't get anywhere after months of fighting, I shut down. In 2022, I was at my breaking point and thinking about a forever nap, so I finally cracked and went to see a therapist. My first appointment went well, and I felt relieved. I was diagnosed with PTSD from public service. About a week later, my wife went to her friend's house and was drinking. She sent me an odd text while she was gone, which raised my awareness, and when she got home, she sent me a text saying "Good night, love," as I was gaming downstairs, which blew every alarm I had. So I waited until she went to sleep and got her phone. Lo and behold, she was sexting and planning on meeting up with a married man. It was gruesome and brutal to read. I exploded. I was screaming in a voice that I never knew could come out of me. Moved my firearm collection to my parents' house and started hooking up to my camper. Then thought to myself, if she's not happy, she can leave, so I stayed home. The next few days and weeks were hell. My kids were truly what saved me. I'm missing a lot of details because I've typed this like 5 different times. But I made her delete Snapchat, ins *gram, and download Life 360. We went to counseling and all seemed to be well. Our sex life exploded and I felt love again. Fast forward a month and I found deleted texts on her phone, where she was sending nudes to another married man, who was married to a lifelong family and best friend of mine. I exploded. I punched a hole in the wall of one of my bedrooms. I told my lifelong friend the next day and she went into denial and basically cut me out of her life, so that was nice. Now is the reason I'm posting this, I think. I'm struggling to find the spark in life to keep me going. I find myself in the dark more often than not. I'm starting to hate everything I love. The only things that keep me going are my kids and parents. I love my wife, but at the same time, I hate her with every fiber of being sometimes. It's going to sound awful, but there's been a few instances where we're doing the deed, and I have to think of other women to finish so as to not raise any alarms. I just don't know what to do. I'm not the type of person to stray, but sometimes I just want to inflict pain on her. The way she's done me, but I don't. Women have approached me my entire marriage, but I don't operate like that. I used to work out 6 days a week and eat very healthy, but now I'm just alive, going day to day, riding the carousel of the abyss. I still talk to my therapist and the talks go great, but I'm in a constant fog. I really don't know what I'll get out of posting this, but any objective constructive advice would be great.